Greetings, my name is Zildjian and I'm from International Business Management of Petra Christian University. And at this presentation, I would like to share to you about my experience and what have I learned from Professor Dr. Casey Chan. But firstly, I want to thank you to Professor Dr. Casey Chan for sharing his experience and his knowledge that can be applicable in the real business world. And at this presentation, I want to use one of Professor Dr. Casey Chan's framework, which is action learning.
And this is the action learning equation. And in this action learning equation, there are four kinds of thinking, starting from holistic thinking, critical thinking, systems thinking, and lateral thinking. With holistic thinking is to ask about what are my strengths and weaknesses, and then in critical thinking we'll ask about why should I know it, and in system thinking we'll use about to ask three questions: who, how, and when. And then with lesson learned, we'll ask about where, and then in lateral thinking, it will use to ask us how much. And now let's starting with what. In what we will use a self-assessment pyramid, which consists of three: individual competence, team capacity, and also organizational capability. Now let's start with individual competence. We'll use three tests, which are Big 5 personalities, entrepreneurship GET test, and also learning styles. And let's start with the first one, learning styles. As we can see here, I scored 15 at the highest is at pragmatist, and the second we scored 14 at activist. Both which means that I'm a learning by doing person, taking direct action, an enthusiastic person, and also person oriented. And moving on to GET test. As you can see here, my highest score is at creative tendency with score 10, which means that I have a lot of ideas in mind, but I tend to daydream a lot. Sometimes I cannot do what I daydream about. And then with calculated risk, which means that I'm a risk taker. And then moving on to Big 5 personalities. As you can see here, my highest score is at neuroticism, which means I have a high emotional intelligence, and the openness to experience, which means that I have a lot of ideas and also open to any ideas that are told to me. And moving on to the team capacity, we will use Belbin 9 team roles. And in Belbin 9 team roles, I scored the highest at implementer, which means I'm seen as the mature person, a confident person, and also a delegator of working tasks. And then the second highest is team worker. I'm seen as a cooperative person, a calm person, and a listener. This represents that I have a high emotional intelligence because I tend to be calm and also listen to other people. And moving on to the next, which are organizational capability. We will use leadership self-assessment for the test. And in leadership self-assessment, I scored the highest at communicating and building a relationship with score 18, and also negotiation and setting direction with score 16 as my second highest. To conclude it, we will use most important attributes, and I'm seen as a lively, straightforward, friendly, and an emotional person. And then we will ask in 5 times why, and why do I need to know about it. Firstly, why do I need to know about my personality? It's of course to know my personality so I can integrate it with my learning styles. And then why do I need to know about my learning styles? Is to understand how can I improve my learning styles, and also to know what my what is my role in a team. And then why do I need to know about my team role? Is to give the best contribution to the team and also to know my leadership style. And then moving on to leadership style is to know how I lead my team and what is the best way to lead my team. And of course, leadership needs an entrepreneurship skills. It is why should I know it? And then it's because it's to recognize my weakness in entrepreneurship skill and improve it so I can be a successful entrepreneur. Then moving on to systems thinking, who am I going to be? It is of course a chief executive officer, a successful chief executive officer that develop a tea company, my family company, and become the multinational company. And who will be my going to be my supporter? Firstly, it is myself, Zildjian Limanto. My motivation is going to support me to achieve my goals. And moving on to the stakeholder. Of course, first one is colleague that will share knowledge and also family that already teach me a lot of things and also employees with their hard work and also skills that will make my company grow. But lastly, it's lecturers that already teach me a lot of things from skills and sharing their knowledge and also giving their experience for us to enter the business world. And lastly is the organization. Is of course the Petra Christian University is the my best supporter because I learned a lot of things from Petra Christian University and get a lot of knowledge. And of course my family company that I will develop later. And while I'm working, I gain a lot of knowledge and experience. And moving on to how my plan will be executed. We will using IPO framework from Professor Dr. Casey Chan. Starting from output, we will become a successful chief executive officer. And the input, of course, I need a lot of knowledge and experience. As the process, I need to keep continuously learning and gain a lot of knowledge. And to control and monitor it, we will use three KPIs: a company sales, a production capacity, and of course, measuring how big is the profit that I get for the company. To measure how successful is the company. If the company is success, which means that the CEO also successful. And then moving on the next to the next when my plan will progress. The first year, of course, I need to graduate from International Business Management of Christian University to get my bachelor degree. And in 2 years' time, I will work for my company and also learn again. For the 3 years, I will work for a multinational company to gain more experience and also knowledge. At the 5th year, I will quit from my temporarily working at multinational company and start developing my own company and expanding it nationally. And lastly, at the 10th year, I will expand the business to go global. And moving on to where my plan can go strong and goes right. There are 5 components of plans which are insight, motivation, and etc. But if one of these could goes wrong, which means my plan will fail and I cannot go on with execution, then I need to make sure that these 5 components will goes right, so my plan will can go smoothly. And then moving on to how much lateral thinking, we will using a KPI with goal, objective, and target. Start with goal is to be a successful CEO of the company, my own company, to go global. And then the objective will be increasing the sales of the company and also the production capacity of the company in order to achieve the goal. And then will the target will be learning knowledge about the business environment currently and also future from the internship and also working temporarily for the multinational company in order for me to gain more knowledge and also I can manage my own company. And moving on to the conclusion, we will use 6 thinking heads and 6 types of power. Starting from stamina power using red thinking heads, stamina powers needed to achieve the goals. If I don't have if I don't have the stamina, I need to rejuvenate. And then with the communicative power using yellow head, goals are need to be communicated. If I cannot communicate my goal, so I need to redesign my goal. And moving on with white head, with expert power, I cannot to be full of myself. I cannot be too overconfident. So I need to reinvent myself in order so my plan cannot fail. And also with green head adaptive power, I need to keep re-innovating and also improving my skills. If I cannot do that, I need to rethink. And with the black hat response power, I need to decide the best plan to act before I executing the plan. And also anticipating if my plan goes wrong. If I cannot do that, I need to redefine my plan. And lastly is the blue hat with execution power. Without execution, which means everything means nothing, my plans means nothing and also my goal will never be achieved. If I cannot do it, if I cannot execute it, I need to re-engineer back for my plan in order to be executable.
And we've already talked about my personalities, my traits, and my future plan. How am I going to achieve that future plan? And also, how am I going to integrate my learning style and use it to achieve my goals? It is all thank you for IBM and Professor Dr. Keisha that he already taught me about how to think. And I want to quote a sentence from Albert Einstein. If you want to live a happy life, tie it with a goal. Do not tie it with people or objects. Thank you very much.